You are now watching Zach Lesage PTCG. Let's get it! Yo, what's poppin', everyone? Welcome back to the Yell Horn episode 7. I try to count my fingers, it's very hard. We're here with our very special guest. We got GyroscopeEevee, Nikhil from Team Karps and Rats. What's poppin'?
Not too much. Kind of chilling out after this long past weekend with our showdown, but I'm doing all right. How are you guys doing?
Doing good, man.
I mean, I'm
Chilling.
doing pretty good. It's snowy up here in Canada. I know we were talking about it a little bit beforehand. I know you're dealing with some snow down there too. And I mean, Maddie lives in I think there's like cannibals out where Maddie lives and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
mountain trolls and stuff in New Hampshire. You know what we're talking about.
We are mountain trolls up here.
Literally, The Hills Have Eyes has probably been filmed there.
Actually,
like-
I think like The Shining. If you ever watched The Shining, I think that was filmed up here.
I mean,
Really?
100. I feel like every horror movie has to be filmed
It's-
out there. Like, I've driven through New Hampshire in that area for a few times. You're driving through the forest, and you're just waiting for someone to pull up like the tracks on the road or something, and the car's like, "Arr!" But
Yeah. You don't
for
want to
the
get
real,
you don't want to get a flat tire up here, man. It's not.
yeah,
good.
you're literally just becoming someone's like dinner.
That's the end of it. That's
Oh.
the end of your life. It's like, oh, okay.
Oh my God.
exactly.
It's like life or death,
So-
knowing how to change a tire. Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Not to get too off track too early. So for everyone who's watching the podcast this week, we really want to talk about who are the Karps and the Rats. I know we've seen them popping up on Twitter. Maybe some of y'all know about them, and you're like, Zach, how are you so tone deaf? Maybe you don't know about them, and you're like, who the heck is this dude? Who are they? What is a rat? What is a carp? I mean, that's cool. What else have we got going on? I mean, I think Players Cup 3 is also on everyone's mind as well, so we're going to get into a little bit more of that. And I mean, if you've watched before, we sometimes just go into tangents about whatever's going on in our day-to-day, whatever we want to talk about. And I mean, we try to bring cool guests whenever possible, so it's super awesome. So we'll pass it on to you, Nikhil, if you want to talk about who are the Karps and Rats. Give us the however which order you want to do. When did it start? What's going on? Give us the goods.
Yeah, so Karps and Rats is a group of online streamers, players, and friends. It started back in August of 2020, around the time of the POG Championships. They had spots for people to pay and become like sponsors and team roles. And so Boosie K, the other co-founder, asked me if we wanted to put together 10 guys that would play under the name. So the original 10 was myself, Boo, Delonzer, H2WM, Azul, Kevin, aka Mellow Magikarp, Senor Doom, Deloc, Ozzy, and Slapjacks. And we kind of just had a Discord DM system going. But after POG and everyone's run was done, I asked, you guys want to kind of stay together as a group? So we agreed upon it and we stayed together. We signed a couple more players over time, being Wilmer and Sack. And now we kind of we're not like the same as DDG or Limitless. We can't ever replicate what they did. So what we're looking to try and do is create content, create experiences for people that, we might not be able to have because, we're in a pandemic. There's no IRL events. You got to have as much fun as you can.
Right.
And that's kind of what our goal as a team was.
Nice. Super cool. You want to give us a little bit about like yourself personally, like so people kind of
Sure.
Yeah.
So I'm Nikhil. I'm from Columbus. I've been playing Pokemon since 2010, on and off, for about 11 years now. I started with Legends Awaken, I think, just around then. Maybe Arceus. I think it was Platinum Arceus, actually. I haven't traveled too much in the last few years because of school. I play mostly in Columbus and some neighboring cities. And honestly, outside of being the co-owner and co-founder of the team, as well as the social media lead, that's pretty much all of my existence. A lot of people might know me though, because of the name, the GyroscopeEevee. I'm on Twitch probably all day, every day. If there's someone streaming Pokemon, I'm probably in there. That's a general thing for me.
Nice. Yeah. Sweet. I mean, I love to hear it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it sounds super cool, especially with like the pandemic coming together with other content creators. I mean, I think that's probably the coolest thing about the pandemic is how much entertaining Pokemon content has come out. I mean, you've come out with Team Karps and Rats. Maddie really during the pandemic came out with Chill TCG, and even for myself, the Lone Blound, and even as we're here on something else that came out from the pandemic, the Yell Horn. So I mean, if you think about like just to the end consumer, the player, the person at Pokemon League, whatever. All of these things are great for the growth of our game, I think. I mean, and it's just those are only like that's from this call alone. I'm sure that there's hundreds, if not. I mean, I think it's just a really good opportunity for content creation. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely think I mean, while it definitely sucks that we can't play IRL, it kind of proves that the community is like so strong that we keep going online. Like we found a way to transition from IRL to online as long as we can, you know, until we can get back to what we love doing. So like, I think that just proves how strong the Pokemon community really is.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. People always kind of ask me this too, and like, it's one of these things where I'm pretty new to the game in terms of like playing. So like when I came into the game, it was right when the pandemic was like hitting. It was like about a year ago. And like everything that I've done so far has been during the pandemic, and it's like obviously like I wouldn't be, you know, in Chill TCG in general wouldn't be where we are without the pandemic. But of course the pandemic sucks, right? So it's
Right.
like been a lot of good things that have happened, I think, to a lot of people during the pandemic, but overall, you know, we definitely don't want to like give any gratitude to it. So it's a little bit of
Right.
a strange position, but yeah.
No, I think I get exactly what you're talking about. Like, but for me, like, I'm almost on the same thing where, like, as much as I don't want to be like, I'm grateful for the pandemic, I'm
Yeah.
really grateful for where I'm at in my life right now,
Right.
especially like, I feel like my content creation is growing. I think that I have a lot more opportunities than I had a year ago. I think that there's just so many good things that have happened in my life, even like just like personal life changes on like my living situation, things like that. Getting my dog, things like that I just wouldn't have when I'm traveling on the world for on a week by week basis. It's just one of those things where like I'm just grateful for life, I guess, at this point. And that's kind of, I mean, yeah, it sucks. Like COVID is terrible. Hope like I would probably do anything right now to be sitting at a regional championships, even if I was at bottom tables right now.
Yeah,
Uh,
for
I'm
sure.
saying that and I'd be so pissed off, but it's one of those things where I think it's I don't know. We'll get there eventually. Let's just enjoy the ride for what we can enjoy and be grateful for what we have. Um, kind of moving on. So I know you said that you've been working with Azul and Kevin. They're probably arguably one of the biggest, like two of the biggest content creators right now in the game. What's it like working with them? Like, what are they up to right now?
So, I mean, obviously, Zool is killing it as of recently. The sub streams, the sub tournaments, all that's coming out from him. You know, the Twitch streaming is doing really well for him. Obviously, Channel Fireball coming into the game and signing him as a player is a huge deal. We never had something like that in Pokemon.
Right.
And Mello is doing some pretty cool content. Like, you know, he's doing a carp lock because he's bored of standard, like a lot of us are starting to get. But honestly, working with them is such a blessing because Azul having, you know, these 200 plus people streams, getting our content out there, getting our ideas to have, you know, a fan base is like super awesome because a lot of the stuff we would do wouldn't have any traction without a lot of the support we get from our streamers. Like our 2017 NAIC event, it would not have been as big as it was unless Azul allowed us to promote through him and with him. And you know, it's super awesome that he lets us do that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and it's funny because I've worked with Azul a bit too because I know he does some casting for us for some of our GG Tour events, which is sort of like a separate deal. But it's always great to have him on. Like from what I've talked to him and worked with him, he's a great guy. And same with Kevin as well. Just you know, just
Yeah.
a great collection of people and great players too. They're definitely good
Yeah,
at the game.
very good player.
Yeah.
Like sitting on calls with him when we play the team showdowns, you can't understate how good of a player he is because he's so knowledgeable in so many ways you just never be able to expect. It's kind of crazy. Like I didn't know that a knowledge of a game like this could go that high, but it does, and he's evidence of that.
Yeah, man. I know Pokemon's crazy because I think it's such a casual centric just sort of franchise in general, right? But whenever sort of the game turns competitive, there's always going to be those people who just take it to the next level. And you know, I've had the privilege of knowing some crazy high level players as well. It's a different world out there, man. It's a different world.
Yeah, I mean, I've been around for a while. I've actually been on a couple teams with Azul. I was on Azul when he was on the DDG. I was on Azul at our failed project of Carta Magica. That was super fun. I mean, it sucks that I've had a couple of those failures and falling outs with Azul, like from the teams. But I mean, it's one of those things where looking like as another player who's seen some success, it's really inspiring to see how much Azul has done from the game, especially if I look at it from a content creation aspect. I'm like, Azul's right there. I can like he's the dream in Pokemon. I mean, if you think about like content creation in general, there's not too many people that you could think of who aren't Azul or like Tricky Jim. I mean,
Right.
if I could think of two, those would be my two. And just like looking at how Azul is, because Azul, like Mahone, not to say that he stopped being like a pro player kind of thing, but he kind of became like a community ambassador role. Whereas I still feel Azul still embodies the pro player. So I mean, I definitely try to channel a lot of my energy, similar to Azul. It's definitely someone to look up to in the game. So I mean, obviously, if you guys are watching this podcast, you probably have heard about Azul. Go check out Azul's stuff if you haven't. I don't know what rock you've literally crushed you, but I mean, go check out Azul's content. But yeah, no, that's super awesome. Players Cup 3. That's on everyone's minds. Like literally, like I know I'm sure Maddy can look at it from the event standpoints. Event numbers are down across the board. Not to throw anyone under the bus, Hegster's getting like half nowadays because everyone's using their keys. They're running through these keys. It's crazy.
No, for sure.
Where's everyone at? I mean, I've been playing some keys. I've talked about it on my YouTube channel. I'll go last. We'll let our special guest Nikhil go first.
So I haven't started keys. I'm pretty busy with school during the week and work during the week, so I can't really. I mean, I know it only takes a little bit of time, but I have to like get myself into a point where I'm like mentally aware that I'm gonna either get very tilted or I'm gonna go on a hot streak. Like it's one of the two that I'm gonna do, and it's kind of the same with a lot of the team. A lot of us are either not playing keys because they just don't find it enjoyable. They don't like single best of one single elimination in the standard format, or some of them are playing them and they did okay, but they just got so tired of the format of what it was built like. I mean, one of our players, Doom, just conceded the last 5 keys he had because he was so done with them. He was just like I'm just going to concede round 1 of all 5 of these keys. And I know people that are going for it and not, but I think whichever medium you pick to be in, it's as long as you put your best foot forward, it's fine. But I think I'm going to start my keys this weekend. That's
okay.
But
that's
yeah,
fair.
best of luck to you, man. I know so many people that and it's mainly of course the people that are taking it seriously, right? Players Cup is sort of like a really big a really big event. There's a lot of eyes onto it. You can have your gripes with the qualification period, and I've said a lot about it. I wish they kind of did something a little bit different with it. But for the people that are taking sort of qualifying for the Players Cup seriously, a lot of those people are probably going to get very tilted because there's just so much involved with it that is out of your control. And for all of those competitive players who maybe didn't hit the best luck in the majority of their keys, then they're definitely going to be pretty upset with how things are going. I know for me, my luck was pretty bad, but it's not the end of the world for me. You know what I mean? Like I'm not like, I'm not like super competitive when it comes to playing. So I understand, but and I know trust me, man. I wish you the best of luck because it's.
Yeah. The last time I started, I got like 3 wins in a row, and then it went swiftly downhill from there. Yeah. And that was kind of like my cutoff point. I was like, all right, I'm done with these.
Yeah,
I hear you.
For me, I've been playing through some keys. I mean, I think I haven't even hit 20 keys used yet. And I've taken a break from Players Cup keys. Not a break from the game, because I mean, at the time of filming, we're filming this on a Wednesday. I'm going to play in the Chill TCG event tonight. Hopefully when this goes up, either later tonight or tomorrow, you guys are like, yeah, Zach's the champion. I can only hope. But in all seriousness, it's one of those things where I started off pretty well. I was on like over a 3 rep ratio. And then my last like 4 events really are killing my vibe. So I'm doing like fairly well, and I'm well on track to be like qualified for the event. But I think I put a lot of unneeded pressure on myself. Like I'm coming off of the champion from the last event. So even just like qualifying for this event is going to be incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
It seems like there's a lot of players that are just kind of gunning for it nowadays. And I mean, it might just be rumors, or it might just be a few select that slipped through the cracks. There's also the seniors that got some of the keys, which I mean, that's a gigantic yikes. I'm sure whoever granted keys out at Pokemon, or however they did it, someone's might be getting fired. Someone's getting a talk to at the manager, right? Like that's the way that I look at it. Like if you screw up like that, it's a yikes. Because I've had a friend, they're like, that person's a senior. I lost to them. I'm so upset. And
Right.
they're just like, I get it, because this game is like, right now, best of one standard is not my favorite formats. And that's the nicest way I'll put it. I think best of three is not even bad. Like, if you look at our format, like, there's a diverse amount of decks.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things going on. Formats, it's a little bit swingy. It's decided by the first few turns. However, there's a lot of players who continuously see success in standard over and over again, especially as our numbers for online events before the Players Cup 3 were reaching
Right.
peak. I think everyone's just using their keys right now. Give it a couple weeks, give it until after the qualifiers are over, and then our numbers are either going to shoot, they're probably going to shoot back up, especially as Battle Styles and Shining Fates comes out. But yep, I'm just basically taking a couple days, maybe a week off of Players Cup keys. Then I'm going to focus a little bit large. I also have some work that I've been working on the DL, doing a lot of article writing. So I've had maybe written like 12 plus articles in the past week for an upcoming website. So I mean, it's good to be back on that content creation bandwagon, but we'll talk about that later when I'm allowed to talk a little bit more about it. So what are your strats going into it? Because I mean, like, are you going to be like a set amount of keys per day? Do you have any ideas for decks that you want to play?
Yeah, so what I did last time was I kind of was like, well, there's going to be a lot of ADP in this. So I ran my first 10 keys with Torkoal, Hammer, Firebox. I won half of those, and I got like top 4 at the other 4. So I was like decently proud of the like performance of the deck. But I like the idea of running all 50 with the same deck that you just feel really comfortable in. So I think what I'll do is I'll find a deck that I am comfortable in, and I'll kind of just start running it. And then if at a point I feel myself getting tilted, because I do get that tilted quite often, I'll stop, and I think I'll limit myself to 3 keys a day, if at that most, because that's the amount that I think that I can handle before I start getting annoyed. And I think that's an amount that I can slowly get through each day until, the deadline.
Yeah, I think that's a smart idea. Yeah, for sure. It's one of those things, like, right, if you're winning, like, if you win like 3 in a row, then maybe you play a 4th, right? You just try to keep it going. But it's yeah, you definitely, like, if you're on tilt and you're just kind of getting bodied a few times in a row, you definitely don't want to like force it, right? And play in a bad mental state. That's
something I've learned over the years is, like, when you're not in a good spot, you're not going to make the right plays. You're going to like be kind of in a cloud, so you're not going to be making correct plays, and that's just never right. So I'd rather like take the time and just like get back to doing something else, take a break, then come back to it, then force my way through 5 keys a day or something.
For sure, man. For sure.
I think that sounds like a pretty fair strategy. I mean, there's other people who are using other strategies. I don't know if you guys saw Pablo Tablemon.
Yeah,
different decks. Like, we're here in 2021. Pablo's like not even like 3021. He's like 4021.
He's like every key different.
What are your guys' thoughts on that, Maddie? I saw you played Orbital. I know you're the Orbital guy.
Listen, I think it's cool. Like, I know. Again, like I said, a lot of people take Players Cup seriously, but the qualification period and most of it, it's like, I don't know. I don't feel like it's a format and a structure that you should really, take too seriously. Like, you should take it with a grain of salt. And for somebody like Pablo who makes content, I think it's a great idea what he's doing. I don't think someone like him really. I'm
gonna stop you there. I get it from a content creation standpoint, where you have Pablo, one of the bigger content creators in the game. Look at it from Pablo, the competitive player, Pablo who's made top cut at Worlds. What do you think about the strategy of that now? Do you think that this is something that's a meme? Do you think this is just like a publicity stunt?
Yeah.
And if Pablo's listening to this, shout outs to Pablo. Thanks for watching.
For sure.
We take every single view and we cash that in the bank.
Bringing it back.
No, yeah, exactly.
So, like,
I don't know. It's just one of those things. Like,
yeah, I mean, personally, like, no, I don't. If you're trying to qualify and win the whole thing, no, I wouldn't play with like Orbital in like a different deck every tournament. But to the same effect, like, I don't think like people should be like, oh, like Pablo didn't qualify, like he sucks. Like, that's not something at all that I think should be on anybody's plate, right? So I think people can take it like however they want to. You know what I'm saying? So Pablo, everybody knows he's a great player. I think if he really wanted to qualify, he could, but I just don't feel like. Do
you think he is going to qualify? Like, what are your bets on it? He's doing 50.
I think he could, man. I think he could.
No, but not. Do you think he could? Like, if you were to give it like a yes/no,
I would say yes. I would say yes.
I'd say yeah. I think he can get.
Yeah.
I'm fairly confident because playing a random deck, like, Excadrill, attacking Excadrill, for
Yeah.
example. And out of 8 decks, the odds of there being just 7 ADPs, it is likely, but it's not as likely as like playing it in a major tournament with 200 players, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think he's taking that into consideration that the metagame of each tournament will be at most 7 different decks I'm playing against. So, like, I think he has some argument like he can do this, but it's definitely not going to be easy. That's for sure.
Right.
I'm going to go with no. I'm going to say that I don't think that there's 50 decks that are remotely viable in this game. And I mean, if it's like the different decks are like Eternatus with hammers, Eternatus without hammers, Poison Eternatus with hammers, I take that back. I don't know what his full plan is, but if it's like Orbeetle and then he's starting to play like Grimmsnarl VMAX, I don't think that there's any way that these that's the souped up theme deck kind of VMAX cards are going to be able to take him all the way. I mean, yeah, I think Pablo's the type of person that could probably win an event with Excadrill. I mean, I think a lot of people could win an event with Excadrill, to be honest. I mean, you head into an Eternatus, you head into a Pika, and especially the players who are playing in the Players' Cup, and on average, I'd say that they're average or below average at the Players' Cup, and that's what makes it more difficult because the plays are more baseless. So, I mean, if you're an Eternatus player and you run into a Colossal, of course you're going to be upset. So I mean, I think that's certainly a way for Pablo to advance. But I mean, if it's like 50 like fairly different decks, like I'm fine with Eternatus and then Poison Eternatus because those are different cores enough. But if they're like pretty different, like a Greenzard and then things like that, and it goes like down the rabbit hole of these weird decks that you've seen on Limitless at the bottom tables, I don't think so. I don't know what it's like to qualify. Because I mean, Pablo still falls under Latin America, so maybe maybe that might be a blessing. I don't know how hard it is to qualify in Latin America with the keys, right?
Right.
I don't know. Does anyone here know? Like, do you either guys know how it finished last time for them?
I don't know last time. I know Oceania is like a lot easier than the US, but I'm fairly certain LATAM's. I think it is definitely easier than the US and Europe because it is a smaller region, but I don't actually know the exact number.
Yeah, I don't know what the numbers is. I think ours was like it was either 87 or 89 last time.
Yeah, it was like high 80s.
Trying to qualify, I mean, try to shoot for that. I think it's either going to be the range of -10 to +10. So 100 would be a very safe line if anyone's watching for North America balls.
I think 100 is more than safe, Zach. I brought this up to somebody recently, and this is a bit of a tangent, but like you were mentioning earlier about how some of the seniors and the younger players got keys. And what that's going to do, and if I can explain it a little bit, it's going to drop it's going to drop that threshold down for qualifying, because a lot of the people who are not Masters players, they're going to play their keys, they're going to get enough points to qualify, but they're not going to be able to play, right? So like say out of 256, right? Is that how many make it out of North America?
Yeah, 256 in North America. Everywhere is 256 except Oceania is 128.
Right. Okay, so let's say like 30 or like even like let's just say like 50 people.
Yeah, let's say that there's like go with 10% kids.
Right. So if you're right, so if that was the case, then they can't qualify. So you just eliminate all of those players, and then it's the top however many people below that 256 threshold, which is going to overall drop the total amount of points needed to qualify. And to your point, I think more people might be playing in Players Cup 3 than Players Cup 2. That makes sense. But based off what I just said, I feel like 100 should definitely be safe. If last time it was like 80 something. So
the thing that sucks about it is the way that they handled people who incorrectly qualified. And I mean, I don't know if there was any seniors who played or any seniors that made it look like they were seniors. I don't think any seniors qualified on a senior account last time. I think that's something that's new for the Players Cup 3.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's seniors who are playing on their parents' accounts for sure. Stuff like that. People are always going to find a way around the system. I mean, even I know people like to talk about Kapahab, not to throw Kapahab under the bus. Kapahab's from Korea thought that if you could sign up for a US account, that you could play for the NA qualifiers. I mean, that's a reasonable idea, especially coming from someone who's a little bit younger. But that's one of those things where they're going to get filtered out. How they filtered those people out in the past is they gave buys to the top players.
So they didn't even qualify to 256.
Those did not qualify.
Yeah.
They just gave buys to, I think, the top 20 or so players.
Yeah, that's
what
tough.
Really worries me. I mean, I would very much like to get into the top 10 to 20 players this time, because the buy there is huge. Again, if anyone doesn't know about the structure for the Players Cup 2 or after you get through the qualifier stage, when you get to your zone's bracket, you're playing like anywhere between 5 to 8 rounds, depending on when you lose in the winners or losers bracket. And you have to go pretty much X and O to X and 1 to advance on to the next weekend, where you're playing anywhere between 3 to 5 or 3 to 6 rounds again. So I mean, it's a bit of a grind. So getting a bye is super huge. Also, it makes Oceania. I would much rather play in Oceania.
Yeah.
Right.
If I could.
100%. I mean, to
Again,
your
like,
yeah, sorry, to your point, like if they're not if they're just like literally qualifying less people because of the people who qualified illegitimately, then that really kind of puts, you know, a lot of sort of blame, I guess, onto those people who shouldn't be playing but did get keys, or onto Pokemon even.
well, I mean, it's one of
Because
those things. Like, if you see a wallet that's like, if someone drops a wallet and no one's around, do you keep the cash and then return the cards? I don't know.
I
Like,
don't think
it's
that's
one of those things where like, is it?
I don't think you
morally-
take their cash, Zach. I
I'm
don't think
not,
that's
I'm not trying to say that you take the cash. I'm just saying for like
yeah. I know people
Pokemon
would
gave
though.
kids keys.
Yeah.
I don't think that since they're not adults, I can't blame them on making the correct decision or not.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
I definitely made a lot of poor decisions in my life as an adult. I can only imagine that I've made a few poor decisions when I was like 12 years old.
Right.
So, I mean, if I was 12 years old, had some keys, saw that Pokemon threw some keys in there, maybe I would play in the Players' Cup. I don't know. I recommend to anyone who wrongly is not in of a playing country, who's of age to play or did not meet the qualifications, I do not think it's a good idea to play. I do not think it's a good idea to play on your mom or dad's account or your older brother's account and qualify through them. I mean, I'll put it like this. Not a lot of people know how the structure works when you get certain far enough in the tournament. When I made it to top 16 in North America, they were asking, or top 16 globally, they asked for who is Zach Lesage.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not like I'm Zach. Like, I have players coordinators that I see on a regular basis at events. They know who I am. I would have drinks with them. I would have lunch with them. I would go whatever. It's one of those things. They're looking for things. It's not my passport and driver's license were not enough. They're looking for like, okay, well, where do you live? How do you prove your address? I need a cell phone bill, water bill, things like that. So I mean, those people are not going to make it too far. So I mean, if you're one of those people,
Right. You're gonna get caught.
cracks, your mom's not going to be like your mom's not going to be your mom at the end.
Yeah,
Right.
no, right. I think that's a big rip though. Like if you're like some 15-year-old kid and you do make it to like top 16, and then they're just like, oh, like you can't play, and then everybody's like, thanks, bro, for like taking somebody's spot. You know what I mean? Like I
Right.
just like best case scenario, you just get sort of like ripped on by the community. I just don't understand it. But I mean, to that effect, then if that's the case, then Zach, then it's going to be even harder to qualify.
Really?
For sure. Yeah, with all of the people who aren't masters and don't even have masters accounts who got keys. I mean, just think about it. Like technically, you could get under 200 people that are actually masters that get enough points to qualify.
That's a completely possible thing that could happen.
Yeah, which would be terrible because then it's like,
Right.
yeah, then it's like what the heck? Because there's a lot of really good players who are not masters. A lot of them.
No, I agree with you. It's just one of those things where I look at it and I'm like, hopefully they change up the structure and they change the buy system, especially if they can identify accounts that should just not be there. There should be some kind of automatic account checker that's like, Zach is a master, insert person here is a senior, disqualified immediately, your keys get nullified, and it just moves down the list. Like, I don't think that this is a hard enough algorithm to create for a website.
Right.
I mean, Pokemon's the biggest IP in the world. Like, I'm talking that I could probably figure this out in the next 24 hours by myself, and I don't have a coding background. I'm pretty sure that Pokemon could pay someone in the next 24 hours to figure this out.
Right.
They got some cash in the bank. I don't know. It's one of those things. I think with a lot of the way that the format goes, though, I wouldn't be surprised. And I mean, it could be a hot take. It's possible that it goes lower. I think our format's due to some kind of randomness. I don't know, laws of distribution, especially with how many players. Like, we're dealing with a lot of numbers that we just don't know how to deal with. How many active users are on PTCGO who have access to keys? And at what rate are they using keys? I mean, I would say like a +10 margin or a -10 margin seems probably fair on either side.
Yeah, I agree. Like your original point way back, like 100 points, I think is like more than safe. Like I don't even.
Yeah, 100 points should definitely get you.
Because I think like the distribution, like if they were to raise the threshold by 10 points, then they would need like hundreds and hundreds of more players to be using all their keys. You know what I mean? Like
I don't even know if that changes anything though, because like, for example, Maddie, did you play in the Players' Cup too?
I think I never like actually.
So if you never played in the Players Cup 2, you're one of these, let's say, hundreds and hundreds of new players.
Yeah.
If you look at the rate that you're burning through keys, or if you look at the rate that other people are burning through keys, and their rep to key ratio, you are not a blip on the map, unfortunately.
No,
Right?
yeah.
So I'm just saying, like, if you have all these people, it's quite possible that players who had it last time are just below. I mean, I don't know exactly how it works out. I'm sure there has to be some kind of pyramid structure of people playing keys on average, but
Right.
I mean, I
Well, the thing
I don't know
is,
what type of formula goes into creating a Players Cup 3 structure. I don't even know if Pokemon knows that. It feels like we're playing in the Wild West out here. Do
well,
you think
like,
they sat down and talked to like a mathematician? We're like, oh, here's what the average player should get rep per keys. In order to make top 256, they think that this is going to be the rep per keys, and that's how they designed a system where they're like 50 keys free for all, bang
well,
bang, gang gang.
yeah.
Like,
Well, that's how it goes. I think. I don't think you can kind of figure out that distribution until you get a total amount of people who have played, right? Like, I don't think you can do that math ahead of time. But to the same effect, like someone like me who like probably won't qualify. I mean, I think like I definitely still can, but like, I'm not like confident that I will. Even if I end with like 60, 70, or 80 points, Zach, those are 80 points that somebody else didn't get, right? So the more players that play, the more distributed the sort of the points get out. You know what I mean? So it's like.
sure.
So like if you of course like yeah it's gonna be the threshold will be higher the more people that play, like that's how the math works, but for the threshold to increase by 10 points to make it, there'd have to be a lot of extra players playing this at this Players Cup than last one.
Yeah.
But I don't know, we'll see.
Okay, but okay. So like I not to like I know that Nikhil hasn't said a word in a minute. But I'm just trying to say like I see you down there and you've been kind of quiet and I'm
No,
just
you're
like
good. You're good.
we're all right here. Maddie, what I'm trying to say is I feel like I'm not in control of my games as much as I want to be.
Definitely
I'm
not.
sitting here as
I
an
agree.
Eternated player, and I'm like, cool, I hit a Colossal, or cool, my opponent just like went ADP Mawile, ripped my hand to like garbage, and then
Right.
oh wait, my opponent plays a second Mawile, and then they play Crushing Hammers, and I'm just like, cool. So I feel like my distribution might be lower than last time, or it might be like I mean at this rate it could be higher than last time because I still haven't even gone through half. Like I don't even have an accurate representation of what mine should be. I don't know. It's just one of those things where. What do you guys feel like? Do you feel like the average player is maybe gaining more keys from a system like this? Like, did you guys see the thing that Celio's posted
Which one?
No.
about a week ago? Celio's network, Luke Morsa, posted something from. It was a snippet from an interview from Pokemon, and they said after Black and White, we're kind of dumbing the game down a little bit. Like the TLDR is that they're dumbing the game down a little bit,
Right.
and the goal is to make it easier for new players to be able to take out top players. So they want effects to be off these large cards that are easy to set up, or crushing hammers, or flipping coins, things that add an element where
There's no skill to it.
skill is devoid.
Right.
Well,
Um,
I think I think they've succeeded for the most part in what you just said.
They definitely have.
But
They 100% have.
But I mean, they're never like the thing is like there's just so much involved where like yeah, even if the game is like half the time, you just need to draw well or go up against a deck that you play like that has a good matchup. The other half is still going to be sequencing correctly and playing correctly, knowing the matchups and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't be able to tell you like an exact percentage right now, but like in especially in a best of one format, the luck and sort of the factor of things that are out of your control is extremely high right now in the game.
yeah.
I mean, to go off the point where Zach said that they wanted to dumb the game down, they definitely have. Like, so I've got to play with the Worlds 2008 decks. I played Blissey Control against Guardy Gallade. Blissey Control is designed entirely to beat Guardy Gallade, and the matchup was still so bad that you could lose with Blissey to Guardy Gallade.
Yeah.
Pokemon has completely removed that. So I was fortunate enough after Nathaniel Kaplan at NAIC 2019 had his unfortunate prize penalty in top 4. We went to dinner with him and we watched back the stream, and he was talking to us. He worked in game design at the time, and he was talking about how coin flips are so horrible for the game, and why cards like Custom Catcher are so healthy. Custom Catcher allows you to play 2 cards, not 1. If Crushing Hammer was play 2, get rid of an energy, it would be a lot more of a healthy card because at most you get 2 without resource managing or whatever, bringing them back. Hypnotoxic Laser, another one. Like coin flip for flip heads, and then your opponent doesn't get to attack next turn possibly. Like Pokemon has definitely made it so much so that luck is more of a factor now than skill is, you know?
Yeah. No, I agree. And people are gonna have their gripes about it. I mean, again, like,
Right.
I- it, I don't know. Like, it's such a strange topic, and I think the main, like, and I think everybody knows it, but the main culprit to that is like ADP. To your point, where like ADP can beat any deck. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You can win. Like, all you have to do is draw the right cards, or like just you know what I mean? Like,
Slightly better than your opponent. You just
yeah.
go, oh, cool, I used Intrepid Sword and got 2 energies. Yeehaw!
Well, like,
Like,
okay, I'll give you a scenario. I was playing a Players Cup match. I think Zach might have been watching me play, or he was on call with me while I was playing. And I was in like the finals. I was playing Luke Metal, which typically has a pretty good matchup on ADP, I would say, like a more than the other way around. My opponent, like, I'm just trying to remember exactly, but I know he played a Water Energy on ADP, played like Saucer one onto Zacian on the bench, researched out his hand, found another Saucer, found an E-Switch, and then detonate out, right? Drew 6 more cards or whatever, found another E-Switch and another Saucer, and just got like 3 energies on ADP. Just by literally just playing cards that were just coming into his hand. Like, it's just like a simulator. It's just like, oh, let me play this, let me draw this, let me play this, let me play that. You know what I mean? And then it's like I lost because it's like there's nothing I can do at that point, because he's taking 3 or 4 prize cards on his second turn, and I just don't have the firepower to keep up. But it's like, I think ADP is like the main culprit when it comes to that. I mean, there's other decks that obviously benefit, but ADP can beat anything. And
I don't even know if it's just ADP, because we put out a form a few weeks ago asking questions about the standard format, and a lot of the responses I was getting was just the situation that standard's been put in. A lot of events are best of 1, because who wants to play 9 rounds best of 3 and be up till 3 a.m.
Right.
And not only that, but the fact that we have a discard draw 7 supporter, a discard draw 6 Pokemon, and a draw until you have 6 Pokemon, all as both basic Pokemon and a draw supporter, is kind of ridiculous considering all of that. Plus, you get to play the 7 cards you start with in your hand. So, like, the format and the circumstances ADP is sitting in now is much worse than it was, when ADP came out in Cosmic Eclipse. Because ADP Keldeo was not as bad as ADP Zacian. But the fact you can discard your hand and draw 7 cards, and then Dedenne and Crobat, it just breaks the game wide open right now.
It's absolutely gross, man. It's gross.
I miss green checks, man. Bring back green.
Like ADP, I remember I wrote an article literally before Cosmic Eclipse goes, and I don't even know where I was. I mean, it was crazy. I put ADP as the 5th best card in Cosmic Eclipse. Like, I just put it as the 5th best card in Cosmic Eclipse. I don't even know what I put as number 1. I think it might have been like Mallow Lana or something like that. I thought Mallow Lana would have been just so much better or something like that. I put ADP as 5th. I was apparently like living under a rock, and here we are now. I mean, to be fair, it might be appropriately placed. I don't even know if ADP's.
I agree with that. Like, I think that it's just in a spot. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but like, it just has. It just has all of the cards it needs to be successful, like to go along with ADP. Yeah. I think that's just the reason why.
Zacian and Metal Saucer. What do you got now? No Saucer, no Zacian.
You have Zacian, you have Saucer, you got E-Switch, you got Boss.
Putting the deck on X game modes. Like, let's be real. Like, Metal Saucers is broken. I mean, that's just like being like Battle Styles 2 or whatever they're gonna be. We're gonna print off Lightning Saucer for Pika Rom or something. It's like, okay, we're gonna go down for the ship, boys. Let's go.
I'm excited for Battle Styles. I'm very excited for it. I like the kind of almost Team Magma, Team Aqua vibes I'm getting from like 2004. I watched the Tricky Gym video yesterday on the 2004 decks, and I got like major Battle Styles vibes from it. I'm excited to see how it turns out.
Yeah, they know what they're doing, man. They know what they're doing with Battle Styles.
I think Battle Styles is actually it's going to be a weaker set right now. The mechanics going to grow. Like, my take is the mechanics going to grow as they go with the rapid style, single strike. Maybe even like I talked to Maddy, I'm like, maybe there's both attacking styles on one card, like on a single card, which would be super cool. Just to like change things up as you search through cards, so you could play cards. Like, I think mixing decks up like that, it'd be super cool. The thing that I'm actually probably the most excited about is I know you were talking about like Marnie, and you were talking about research and Dedenne and stuff like that. I think that what's it called, Bruno's and Bruno, Karina's motivation. I think both of those cards add an incredible amount of depth to our game because it also makes deck building a lot better.
Yeah.
So it might make your decks a little bit more consistent. We might have a little bit more off the normal beat of four boss, four Marnie, four research, or maybe two boss, three boss, whatever.
Yep.
The only decks that seem to be different are like welder decks or decks that might run Mallow Lana. But there's just so many poor supporter choices nowadays. And I really hope that as the game continues to grow, we see more solid supporter choices. Yeah. We could see the game diversify a little bit. Because if you ask me how to build a deck right now, I could probably give you like a 40 card skeleton that's going to fit in every single deck.
Yeah.
Quick balls and switch, and the format's very much decided upon. And I mean, I think that's due to the pandemic and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, we're here.
Yeah, no,
I think it's also a lack of cards. I think it's such a limited card pool we're sitting in right now that like we have so few good draws. Like if we had Cynthia and I guess not Lily, but like Erica's, Tate and Liza, Copycat, those are all supporters that have a little more depth to them than just chuck your hand, draw 7.
Right.
And I think that would definitely increase the amount of variance in decks right now. But yeah, you're right. It's like a 40 card skeleton to like most decks.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you said you played back in 2010. Like, I don't know if you like how much you played back in 2010, but when I was playing back then, I remember for like week 3 of States, they released the Toxicroak G fighting type promo.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was just like, my mind was blown. I was like, wow, the whole game flip-flopped on its own by one single card being released. Right? And I mean, we've seen a few promo cards come out here and there, and I mean, I'm excited by the forefront of these new V battle decks, I think they're called.
Yeah,
I think those are really cool.
They're like the new theme decks, yeah.
I like that they're introducing new cards like that. And I mean, while our promo selection is great for new players, I mean, when regionals start, you could be like, hey, I'm joining Pokemon, gonna go play at the regionals in Atlantic City. I'm gonna go to the local Walmart and buy my whole Eternatus deck from scratch. Buy 2 trainer kits, buy 4 of the Eternatus boxes. Let's go. Oh, wait, they even have the Crobat V bot or the Crobat V tin. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can kind of build your whole deck.
Yeah.
Promos are reprints. That's also, I think, is a huge issue with our formats. It's making the game easy to digest for new players. I mean, if you could even acquire these cards, because there's the whole collectors, everything going on, and we could go. That's a whole episode. We'll bring on someone. We'll bring on like Jake Paul or something for that one, or Logan Paul.
Logan Paul. Right.
Dude, if we get Logan Paul on the podcast, bro, we're on a different world.
A different level.
Or something. Anyways, things where there's just not enough new cards coming out in different ways, and especially like if we look at our set coming up, Shining Fates is our new set that's coming up. That's a waste set, unfortunately. I mean, I don't necessarily know if it's as bad as it is, because there's some cool cards out of the 10 or 15 new cards that are coming out that are probably going to change a little bit of the metagame. But I mean, also with battle styles, I also don't think there's going to be too many decks. Like Vivid Voltage was also a pretty wasteful set, with a lot of it just being very basic attacking stuff. So I mean, the thing that sucks is like Darkness Ablaze was such a pillar set, and then even Rebel Clash before that, Rebel Clash sucked, Darkness Ablaze pillar set, Vivid Voltage sucked, Shining Fate sucks.
Rebel was fire, bro. I gotta stop you there. Rebel Clash was.
Rebel Clash is fire at all,
dude. Okay, I mean, first of all, I think it was pretty good. It had Bolton, it had Eldegoss, it had Boss, it had Scoop Up Net. Dragapult was like the best deck for a little while there. I think Darkness Ablaze had much better Pokemon, like for sure, like in terms of VMAXs especially. But
okay, so I'm gonna dispute that point right now. Bolton is a tech card in Pikarom. I mean, Bolton made the deck really good, but Bolton upon release literally was going for like 2 packs.
Yeah, it was not.
Everyone laughed at me for having my playset, my double playset back then. Joke's on y'all. I mean,
get out of here.
Whatever, like 20 packs.
Yeah,
back then. Now it's grown into that. Yeah. Dragapult was hot for a minute, but Dragapult failed.
Well,
Eldegoss literally has been reprinted. It's going to get reprinted for its 4th time in a couple weeks. So I mean, sure, it's great. I mean, Eldegoss is a good consistency crutch. Scoop Up Net is a fine card. So I mean, I think if you're talking about like, if you can name 5 cards out of a set, and most of them are like just like a tech card or something like that, I don't think it was a defining set. I mean, Darkness Ablaze brought us a complete new archetype of
decks, like two of the top decks in the game. Right.
I mean, I'm sure there's that. We don't even need to look past that. Just like new deck concepts, I guess, is more or less what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And battle styles like Urshifu might pop off here and there, but I mean, it's whatever. I think it's whatever.
I have hot takes on battle styles, man. for me, it feels like they designed the Urshifus to just sort of phase out tag team Pokemon. I'm not saying they will entirely, but to me, that both of those cards feel like they were literally made to just be tag team decks. And now, like, because like single strike Urshifu just one shots them first of all, and then you can add damage modifiers to just try to like get up to VMAX range, but it just literally KOs tag teams. And then the rapid strike version, like technically in like 3 turns, you should be able to KO 2 tag team Pokemon, like with the 2 damage split and then the 150.
There's some cool stuff to come out. I'll give you that. There's some cool stuff. Like, I haven't tested the format as much. I know that you've been putting some stuff on your channel.
Yeah.
You should go check that out. Yeah. I mean, I think before we go, we could probably talk about a bunch of different rants, but we got to save some content for future episodes.
Kingdra.
Shut up. I mean, look, like, I have a tribal Kingdra on my arm here, right? Like, I'm ready for that Kingdra.
That's the sauce, bro. That's the sauce. I'm telling you, dude. It's like the new water.
Got my sleeve the whole time.
I think it might be like the best deck in the fucking sorry, I didn't mean to swear. In like
Zach
the game.
Literally has Kingdra up his sleeve.
He
like,
does. He does.
Yeah, I'm sure there's gonna be another YouTube video about Zach Lesage up there real soon about that comment. Anyway. Yeah. So I mean, if you want to give any shout outs or anything to Nikhil, I mean, I think unless there's anything else that anyone really wants to talk about, I think kind of talked about the Players Cup, talked about Team Karps and Rats. Any shout outs that you want to give out before we peace out here?
Yeah, shout out to the team Twitter, T Karps. Shout out to my Twitter, NK0HLI, and shout out to the 2017 NAIC Mini we're holding next weekend, February 13th. It's 1 pack to enter, and then the end of the month we'll be holding a 2018 World Championships Major. Free to enter. We'll supply the prizing as we did last time.
Nice. That all sounds hype. Yeah.
I mean, I'm probably not going to check out the thing on Valentine's Day weekends.
Yeah, it's Valentine's Day weekend.
I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of Pokemon players that will check it out on Valentine's Day weekend. Yeah. If there's one community that you could, this might be the one community where you can run
the one.
Day weekend.
Oh no.
That being said, everyone, it's been Yellowhorn episode 7. Thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate it. We try to bring it loud and clear. Hopefully, you all enjoyed this episode. Let us know what you feel about this episode in the comments below. Also, retweet and share this with your friends.
For sure. Yeah, thank you so much, man, for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you guys for having me.
All right. See you guys later. Peace out.
Thank you so much. Peace.
Thank you so much for watching and supporting the channel. If you haven't already, it'd mean the world to me if you could subscribe to help support me as a content creator. Thanks again, and have yourself a great one.